Jesse with Texas Bushcraft. My voice a little messed up. I'm just coming over some congestion. I'm out here today. I got a new knife. I want to show you guys. It's the Tops Dragonfly 4.5. Tops was generous enough to send me a knife to review, and I've got it on my side here. First, we're going to cut this tree that fell off right here with my baco. Get a good piece to baton and work on, and also clear out this trail a little bit as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that, and stay tuned. We'll go over this knife real soon. It's really windy today, so I had to make an impromptu windscreen on my camera. Hopefully it's working pretty well. It's just one of my bandanas. I cut a little sliver off and taped it on there. Hopefully that'll work. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get my baco out, start cutting on this, get this out of the way, just kind of clear up this trail some. So stay tuned. There it is. Good size. Probably about 3 inches. So this right here, this is pretty big, even for me. I'd much rather have an axe for this, but I don't have one on me. I just brought my haversack and a couple other things. So to keep it from pinching, when you're trying to go this way, it always seems to pinch, you know, regardless. So it's supported at the other end, so I'm not worried about it going down too much. I'm actually going to start sawing underneath first and get a little ways, not too far, and then I'll start on the top. I know this isn't the most efficient or best way to get through this thing, but like I said, I don't have an axe, and I kind of want to clear out this trail because I walk it, you know, a good amount. Just make it easier on me. Plus, this is my buddy's land, so I'm going to help him out a little bit too. So I'll clear this up a little bit. Keep cutting at it. Alright, so I actually went about halfway there. So I'm going to try to meet up with that. Yeah, it looks about good. Alright, so I'm going to drag that thing out of here. Actually, I'm just going to drag it off in this direction over here. Just get it out of the way. What I'm going to be reviewing today, like I said before, is the Tops Dragonfly 4.5. And before I start into the review, I just want to say thanks to Tops for sending me the knife. I really appreciate it. It's really a nice thing for them to do. But this is going to be my initial review. In Texas Bushcraft, normally what we try to do on our reviews is have 2 reviews. We'll have the initial review, which pretty much is just our thoughts when we first receive the knife. How sharp it is from the factory, how it feels, how it looks, you know, how we think it might perform, and you know, a few tests, feather sticks, batoning, things like that. But and then after the initial review, we'll do a 1-year follow-up review after we've used it for a while and tested its abilities and done any modifications that we see fit. It's not always a year. I mean, it varies from time to time. After we feel like we've had a substantial amount of use with the item, we'll like to review it again a second time to see if there's any changes from our initial review. But anyway, it's the Dragonfly 4.5. I'm gonna go ahead and take it off my side here. Actually, let me pan the camera down so you can check this out. This is the sheath here. Like I said, I haven't even taken the rubber band off the paracord yet. So this is exactly how it came. I'm going to show you exactly how it came. Let me go ahead and take this off. It doesn't have a quick release feature, but that's fine. It's not a big deal to me. The sheath, I didn't really want to review it for the sheath anyway. So let's start with that. The sheath is, well, not great, to be honest. It's a nylon sheath. It has the a Velcro strap here. Let me go ahead and take off the plastic. This plastic came on it. Nylon sheath. This is exactly how it came with the plastic on it and everything. It has this this cover over it, I guess for a extra protection. And the way it sits on the belt, it's really low. It feels, the sheath makes it feel like a larger knife. I don't really like that. I'd prefer the knife to sit up a little bit higher and lose, I mean, granted this sheath isn't going to weigh anything, but it just doesn't feel right it laying so low on your belt and on your side. But the belt loop is here. It has a detachable cover here in case you just don't like the cover, which is actually a pretty cool concept. I like that idea a lot. But it has this buckle. I don't know if you can take it off. I haven't tried. I guess, yeah, you could take this off if you want. You could just undo it, take that out, and then put it back down, and you wouldn't have any of this. It's got a little pocket here with a little rubber band or whatever you want to call it here, keeping it in. So after you take off the cover that's there, you're left with this. Just a knife and a little piece of Velcro. I mean, this thing will not stay in that. It's just a plastic molded tube. I'm assuming it's a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. But it's not a good sheath. It's a poor sheath, honestly. But it comes with it. You're not really buying the sheath anyway. I mean, I would prefer it come with a really nice sheath, like a leather sheath or Kydex, but it's a production knife, and that's how these things work. But anyway, besides the sheath, like I said, it comes with this, and in mine, it came with a whistle attached. Not really attached, just kind of slid into the back of the sheath. It's really loud. I'm not going to blow it because it's kind of hard to distinguish how loud it is over on the camera anyway. But sheath sits low, which is nice, but at the same time it also makes the knife feel larger than what it is, which is also kind of annoying at the same time. Alright guys, so let's go over the specs. Let's go over the steel first. It's a 1095 high carbon steel, 1/8 inch thick. The overall length of this knife is 9 3/4 of an inch. The blade itself is 4.5, leaving the handle at 5 1/4. The handle material is a black canvas micarta with white liners, and the pins here are hollow. I'm assuming they're brass tubes, which really give it a nice look. And you can see there on the handle, the swelling on it is dead center of it. There's not a lot of profile in the handle, which kind of makes it almost a universal handle, because if you got too much profiling in the handle, then it's going to fit really well to a lot of hands and really badly to a lot of hands, and there's no in between. But with this, there's not too much of a profile. There's a decent swell in it. I guess it's not really a swell. They just kind of knock out some of the micarta here on in between the pins, which it feels good in the hand. I can tell that there would be a little bit of a hot spot right here on this middle pin if I was using it a lot, especially small stuff. It came pretty sharp out of the box. Honestly, I would expect it to have been a little bit sharper than what it was. And I've got a piece of paper here. I know a lot of people don't like the cutting paper test, but to me, I mean, you can kind of tell how sharp a knife is by that. You can the edge that the knife leaves on the piece of paper will kind of tell you how sharp it is. So let's go ahead and cut a little bit of paper on it. I haven't sharpened this knife. I haven't done anything to this knife besides cut one sheet of paper. So this is just regular. This is just regular printing paper. Barely putting. I mean, you can see I'm not even holding the edge there. I mean, it's definitely sharp, but when I used it at home, it didn't seem to be cutting as well as I'd like. But there's a really easy fix. Just hone it. If you have a leather belt or even some cardboard, you can hone this down a little bit. But it came pretty sharp out of the box. It's a really nice looking knife. I really like the way it looks. I'm really fond of the Kephart style. This is really reminiscent of the Kephart. The Kephart has more of a spear tip on it rather than the more angular here. But there's no finger choil on it. There's no gimping. This is a straightforward knife. This is what you're buying. You're not buying the sheath, although if I pay, you know, this thing ranges about $150, which is about even or about normal, about medium price range for a lot of really high quality knives. Alright, so you've seen the blade, you've seen the handle, you've seen the sheath, and we're going to start to get to testing the thing. I grabbed that log from here where I cut, and I got a big monster of a baton stick right here that I'm going to smack it with, and we're going to see how it works. So the reason why I picked this size here is because I feel like they would be the best size for this knife. Like it's only 5.5 inches. It's not a really large knife. I kind of like them small. Anything less than 4.5 is kind of pushing it though. I think 4.5 is probably the minimum, but for this knife it feels really good. It feels right. I wouldn't want a style like this much bigger than that. Anything bigger than maybe 5.5. Let's go ahead and start on this thing here. We'll do it this way. So you saw me go through this thing here, and that's as far as I could get. I couldn't make it. I think this here is just a little too big for this knife here. I've only got a little bit sticking out. That's more my fault than anything, but I wanted to start big and work my way down. So I'm gonna go ahead and get another piece. It's gonna be a little bit smaller than that. We'll see how that works. Alright, so I'm back. This is substantially smaller than the last. But I think this one is probably the size that you're actually going to want to try to baton. This here is, I mean, let's see. There's barely going to be an inch coming out of there, out of that end right there. But like I said, I want to start big and go smaller to see what this potential of this knife is going to be. Let's get smaller. I just cut this off with my Baco. This is actually dead. I know it looks green, but it's been raining all day. Well, yesterday. Rain in Texas. Yeah, I mean You can see that that's not rotten either. That's actually really dry. Well, a little damp on the inside. Probably been that way for a while. So you're not going to want to baton anything much bigger than this. I mean, this is... yeah. Alright. So we saw I couldn't baton through this big sucker here. And that's a good 3.5 inches cut right there, and I only made it, you can see that the split stopped right about here. So I only made it 1.5 inches before this thing got stuck and it wouldn't come out. And that's kind of expected, because like I said, it's a smaller knife. That's why I like my knives to be at least, like I said, 4.5, the bare minimum, and 5 is about good. I'd say 5.5 is probably my size knife. But I'm a big guy. I live in Texas. Everything's bigger here, you know. There's always that first learning curve when you first grab a knife. You got to figure out how it feels in your hand. There it is. So after the baton, this is, look at them curling up pretty good there too. Look at that. The thinner they are, the more curls they can get in them. And honestly, they don't have to be insanely thin. It's a sharp knife. It's got a Scandi grind on it, which means it's going to baton, or excuse me, feather stick pretty well. You see, I'm just getting the little ones now. It's going to feather stick just as well as any other sharp Scandi grind. So anyway, that's the feather stick after the baton. You can see it's getting a nice grunge to it. Handle still feels fine. Handle's not splitting out any. Nope. Feels good. Pins are still set. After smacking that thing with that giant baton stick, I was kind of worried that these pins would give out and that this would start separating, but it hasn't separated at all, which is awesome. I guess you could put a lanyard through this last hole here, which I might do in the future. So I'm going to grab that same piece of wood that we tried to split that it wouldn't go through, and we're going to smack it a few times and see what happens. So here is that same piece of wood that we were messing with before. Now this thing, like I said, is not a chopper, but we're going to see how deep we can get this thing in the same piece of wood. Now this is a different baton stick than my last. And it broke. So we're going to get this big sucker out again. It's getting pretty deep in there. I didn't angle properly. Yep. So, I mean, this is the same concept as batoning, but instead, you're trying to knock out chunks of the side, or trying to cut down a large tree with a small knife. That is really good. You can see how deep I'm getting in there. And that was 5 or 6. It would take a while to get through a size tree this size. Alright, so next, ferro rod. Ferro rod. Knife. This is the factory spine on it. I haven't altered it in any way. Got a little bit of gunk on it from our test. So first few are going to be just removing that oxidation level, or layer, excuse me. I'm not getting nothing. Oh, there's a little bit. Yeah, there's no, that factory spine on there just isn't sharp enough to throw sparks. Nothing. Let's try it a different way. Yeah, there's a little bit. It's just, there's a lot of pressure pushing down on that. You'd have to file this back down to get that edge sharp enough to be able to throw sparks, which of course I'm definitely going to do. Could always use the blade. I'm not going to do that, of course. Good little bit of grunge on there from our tests. Alright guys, so that's my initial review on the Tops 4.5, or Tops Dragonfly 4.5. And I just want to give a big thanks to Tops for sending this out to me to review. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll get some feedback from them. Let me know what they thought of my review. I told them I was going to be completely honest, and that's what I was. And like I said, I'm going to give it a few months. I'm going to get some better experience with this knife. Hopefully by then I'll have the sheath and the spine worked out, the only 2 flaws that were major in my book. And we'll do another review and see what I think about it then. Just with Texas Bushcraft, I really appreciate y'all taking a look at my video. If you want, check the description. We have a forum, Texas Bushcraft, and we also have a website for Texas Bushcraft. The links are in the description. And I just really appreciate you guys watching. I really want to thank you guys for keeping the views up. And hopefully, with the weather cooling down here in Texas, it's 75 degrees out here right now. It's amazing temperature. It feels great. With this cooler weather, hopefully I'll be able to get a lot more videos out and help keep you guys entertained. So I'm Jess with Texas Bushcraft. Thanks for watching.